In this video, we're going to introduce Kenya Data Protection Act, why it's important that you protect your personal data, or why data protection is important, and what happens to offenders who violate this particular Data Protection Act. My name is Cynthia Koech, and on this channel we train digital marketing and data protection. This is the first video on a series on data protection in Kenya. Data protection is safeguarding personal or an individual's information in accordance with set principles of the law. This law was brought into effect in order to protect individuals from their data being violated by people who come in contact with them. So violation of data is when someone collects your information. For example, if you take your information to an institution, a learning institution, and the next day someone markets themselves or texts you telling you they're selling a product, but you only collected that information maybe for the purpose of securing your child or being a child's guardian. So if someone leaks your information, that is abuse or violation of data. So whoever collects yourself, you're a data subject. So it's important that a data subject, yourself or myself, we are data subjects, and people who come in contact with information of a data subject are either data controllers or data processors. A data controller is anyone who collects data and determines the purpose as which this data is to be used. An example of a data controller is a SACCO. So if a SACCO collects information of its SACCO members, the information of their ID, that is personal information, the information of their age, the information of their origin, ethnicity, or any other private data. This organization, the SACCO, is a data controller. And if the SACCO gives information to another entity for processing, the other entity in this case becomes a data processor. For example, if the SACCO has a system that has to be created by an external person, and this external person needs to feed information into their system, the SACCO gives the system administrator personal information, thus making the system administrator a data processor. So it's important that any person's personal data or privacy is respected, and there are punishments that come with violation of personal data. So when the Office of the Data Protection Commissioner is punishing offenders of personal data, they look at categories. So data comes in two categories. There is personal data and then there is sensitive data. So personal data could be your ID or anything that cannot cause a lot of harm when someone comes in contact with them. And then there is sensitive data. Sensitive data is very sensitive information that when one uses them, it could actually cause harm to you or your close friends or your relatives or people that are close to you. So an example of sensitive personal data is biometric data, your ethnic origin, your sexual orientation, or anything that you would not want anyone to come in contact with. We are going to list them in this video. Also, there are various rights of a data subject. So a data subject, which is you and I, we have rights. When you give out your information, you have the following rights. The first right is right to deletion. When you give out your data and you do not want it to be used, you can ask that your data is deleted. The second right you have is right to change of false information. So if your data you feel like is falsified, or there is a spread of information about you that is not true, you have every right to correct that. Another right that you have is to be told the purpose of collection of this data. So if anyone wants to collect your personal data, you have a right to ask why they are collecting this personal data. Another right that a data subject has is the right to access their personal data. So once you give out your personal information, you always can come back and actually verify that this information is true and it's my information. You also have a right to object to processing of part or all of the information. So if you give out your information and it was due for processing, you have a right to object to that move. The Kenya Data Protection Act is protected or enforced by the Office of the Data Protection Commissioner, and anyone who violates the data privacy is punishable by a jail term or fines that will be later discussed in this series. Stay tuned, and thank you for watching our video. We hope this information was helpful. Kindly like and subscribe, and see you in the next video. Thank you.